Army veteran dies from COVID in Mount Vernon, Missouri veterans home. Joe Biden calls for unity even while his party calls for fascism. And we have entered the calm before the storm. Before we get started with the news, if you're watching this video, I ask that you please go hit the subscribe button on my homepage, like this video, and share it with your friends. I don't have a marketing team or a big fancy studio, so all of my traffic comes through you, my viewers. So what are you waiting for? It only takes 2 seconds. Go to my homepage, subscribe, even while you're watching this video. If you like my content and would like to see more of it, if you want to be part of helping my channel grow, and if you want to be part of combating false news and fake news narratives floating around the social media sphere, go ahead, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, and share this video with your friends. And if everyone who watched this video shared it one time, I would be the biggest YouTube channel by the end of the year. All right. Before we start with the election news, I want to talk about a story that I've been personally invested in for, at this point, the last couple of months, and that is the death of Army veteran Roy Mitchell. So hop on over to this article from St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Roy Mitchell, housed in a Missouri veterans home, died of neglect, not coronavirus, his family says. Jefferson City staff at the Mount Vernon Veterans Home in southwest Missouri transferred Roy Mitchell, an 89-year-old dementia patient with COVID-19, to the hospital only after his wife insisted he be moved as his condition worsened. Oof. All right, I'll get to my connection to this story in just a second, but we'll get through some of it, and then I'll talk about my connection, because it really is a crazy story. When Mitchell, an Army veteran, arrived at Freeman Hospital in Joplin on October 1st, he was severely dehydrated, confused, and wouldn't speak to emergency room staff, said Dr. Sandip Nayak, who started treating Mitchell days later, referencing Mitchell's medical records. "He should have come here earlier," Nayak told the Post-Dispatch in an interview. "When he came here, he was so dehydrated, his sodium was up, he had kidney failure, everything was bad at that time." Mitchell of Anderson, Missouri, died of COVID-19 pneumonia and acute respiratory failure on October 10th, according to his death certificate, which also notes Mitchell's dementia, advanced age, severe dehydration, and hypernatremia, or blood sodium levels caused by lack of water. In life, Mitchell was a resourceful and hardworking man and member of the First Baptist Church in Anderson, who kept a shop in his garage and liked to go fishing. He is survived by his widow, Janice, and 5 children. Mitchell is one of at least 98 Missouri Veterans Homes residents since September to die after contracting COVID-19, according to the Missouri Veterans Commission. His case is one of several that independent investigators are examining as they prepare to deliver to state officials a report on the Missouri Veterans Commission's 7 state-run nursing homes. He got no care. Okay, time for my connection to this. Roy Mitchell's grandson, John, is one of my best friends. I know his dad. I've met Roy before in the past. He was a very sweet old man. He's a little crazy, that happens when you get dementia, but I've met the guy. Super cool dude. I've been out to his house. I've helped work on his cars. I know this family well. And I've been personally invested in this story for the past 2 months because I've had to watch as John, one of my best friends, and his dad, Mike, work through watching their grandfather and father die because they got no care at a place that he was supposed to receive the care that he needed to prevent this from happening. Mitchell's family is angry at the quality of care he received at the Mount Vernon Veterans Home. They have voiced their frustrations on the Veterans Home's Facebook page to the governor's office and now to the independent investigators working for the state. I'm pretty upset too. I watched this man die, and I watched what it has done to their family, all because, again, he didn't get the care that he was supposed to receive. That's why he was there, to be cared for, and he wasn't. "The books will say that my dad died on the 10th of October from COVID," said Mike Mitchell, one of Roy's sons and spokesman for his family. "The reality is that he died from neglect and COVID. He had COVID at the time, but he got no care. If his father had been able to maintain nutrition and avoid dehydration, he may have actually had a chance," Mike Mitchell said. According to Mitchell's medical records, he initially tested positive for COVID-19 on September 19th. and he was transferred to Freeman on October 1st, 12 days later. Emergency room records say Mitchell's condition started to worsen a week before his transfer. According to the Mount Vernon home, the ER report says patient is normally able to walk and somewhat take care of themselves. However, approximately 1 week ago, the Mount Vernon's veteran home, states that the patient has been declining and becoming more lethargic. Excuse me. They state that the patient has not taken their medicines, eat or drink, the ER report says. No one ever said he wasn't eating at all or that he wasn't able to eat, Mike Mitchell of Sulphur Springs, Texas. This story is insane because it should never have happened. All of these workers that didn't do their job need to be fired and replaced because they didn't take care of this ailing old man who couldn't take care of himself. And he stopped eating and stopped drinking, and they just let him be. They left him in bed for days. They didn't change his sheets. They didn't feed him. They didn't make sure he was drinking or taking his medicine. They left him in his bed, and he went septic. And he was there for almost a week before he was transferred to the hospital. This story is disgusting. Mike Mitchell, I know Mike. He's a great guy. He's a bigwig at some big shipping company, and I've helped him move furniture because bad back and whatnot. Hardworking man, fantastic, wonderful guy. But Mike Mitchell said his mom insisted his dad be transferred to the hospital on October 1st amid concern he was going to die after she was briefed on his condition. He said staff never recommended his dad be transferred. The family has other concerns. For example, his family was never able to recover dentures belonging to Mitchell after his death, indicating a lack of oral care, his family said. This should never have happened. If you're working at an old folks home, you take care of the old folks. That's why you're there. And I remember John talking to me about his grandpa Roy and how Mike's mom, John's grandma, called the office and they said, no, he hasn't tested positive. Well, then she called back a little while later because they couldn't go see him. And the manager answered the phone and said, I don't know why you were told he tested negative. He tested positive. He has to quarantine with all the other COVID patients. And those were the first red flags that led to this, 6 weeks, 4 weeks, now 8 weeks road of Roy's death and Mike blasting everyone. This story is so sad. And people, I'm telling you, this is not a political issue, but it has been deeply politicized. I had COVID. I did. I had COVID. I was out of commission. I couldn't work for 10 days. And it sucked. It really sucked. I'm just going to say it. I would not have done well if I didn't have my wife to take care of me. And so the fact that this old man, this dying old man, got COVID and the people that were supposed to take care of him didn't take care of him. He didn't die from COVID. He died of neglect. This man died of neglect, not COVID. So stop politicizing this issue. Stop saying it is a hoax because it's not. It is a real issue dealing with real people. All right, I got to stop because I'm going to lose it. Let's move on to the election news because I'm getting tired of this crap. President-elect Joe Biden declares clear victory and calls for unity. Oh my gosh. I've about had it with this man. President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris projected optimism and called for unity in dual speeches on Saturday night, signaling a significant change in tone from the grievance politics of the Trump era. This was the first time the two spoke in public since they were projected to win the presidential election. Okay, let's do a quick fact check here. They are not the president-elect and vice president-elect yet. Now, come December 14th, when the Electoral College votes and they end up winning, sure, then they will be president and vice president-elect. But they are not yet. So stop calling them president-elect and vice president-elect, because they are not. They are not elect until the Electoral College votes on them. The people of this nation have spoken. They have delivered us a clear victory, a convincing victory, a victory for we the people. We won with the most votes ever cast in the history of our nation, Biden said, referring to the more than 74 million votes. Actually, I think it's up to 78 million now that he had earned as of Saturday evening. CBS News projected this morning that Biden will win the state of Pennsylvania, bringing him to the 273 electoral votes, just over the 270 threshold needed. A few hours later, CBS News also projected a Joe Biden win in Nevada, boosting him to the electoral total of 279. Biden struck a familiar chord in his speech, calling for unity and implicitly rebuking the president for his divisive politics. I sought the office to restore the soul of America, to rebuild the backbone of this nation, the middle class, to make America respected around the world again, and to unite us here at home, Biden said. Biden thanked his supporters, boasting that he had earned the votes of the broadest and most diverse coalition of American history. He thanked black voters in particular for their longtime support. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours, Biden told black voters. He also reached out to Trump voters, saying that he would act as their president as much as he would vote for those who voted for him. Okay, I gotta stop there because there are a couple of things, red flags going on here. A couple of things going on. Woo, woo, woo. This is crazy. First of all, Biden told black voters, you've always had my back. Okay, if any Republican said something like this to white, uneducated voters, non-college educated voters, they would have been chided and dragged through the mud as racist for weeks on end. But Biden can say it about the black voters, and everything's fine. This is ridiculous. Can we stop with the partisan politics? Stop it. And then Biden has the audacity to claim that Trump is the one that caused this divisiveness in American politics. I'm sorry. No. You don't get to claim that after the president that you were vice president under is the one that blew up American politics for his own political gain. You were the one that claimed Mitt Romney was going to put black people back in chains. You don't get to say that Trump was the one that caused divisiveness when you caused more divisiveness than he has in his 4 years. You started this, not Trump. Trump may have made the divide worse, and I'm not going to deny that. But he didn't cause it. He may have wedged himself deep into that gap and pushed it aside. But he's not the one that drove the knife into American politics. That was you and your guy Barack Obama. In 2008, America was on the cusp. They were ready for racial reconciliation. And then you and Obama blew it up. Blasted it to hell for your own political gain. So you don't get to claim that you are here to represent unity and Donald Trump represents division. That's not how this works. Time did not start when Donald Trump was elected president. It's time that we stop ignoring that. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to buy this message of unity from you when your entire party is calling for fascistic policies. Like Michelle Obama, this piece from Daily Caller, attacks all 71 million voters for supporting lies, hate, chaos, and division. Michelle Obama tweeted, "I'm beyond thrilled that my friend Joe Biden and our first black and Indian American woman Vice President Kamala Harris are headed to restore some dignity, competence, and heart in the White House. Our country sorely needs it." She then goes on to tweet, "Thank you to all of you who poured every ounce of your hope and determination in this democracy over these past 4 years, registering voters, getting them to polls, keeping folks informed. More votes were cast in this election than ever before. It's because of you." Excuse me. And after we celebrate, and we should take a moment to exhale after everything we've been through, let's remember that this is just the beginning. It's the first step. Voting in one election isn't a magic wand, and neither is winning one. Let's remember that tens of millions of people voted for the status quo, even when it meant supporting lies, hate, chaos, and division. We've got a lot of work to do to reach out to these folks in the years ahead and connect with them on what unites us. I'm sorry. Again, this division did not start under Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not the status quo. For 8 years, your husband and you and Joe Biden were the status quo. So America didn't vote to keep the status quo. They voted to return to it. Because you have been the status quo. Attacking half of America because you don't like the orange man. I said it in my show yesterday. Democrats widely hate Donald Trump more than they love America. And that's becoming abundantly clear. They don't hate Donald Trump. They hate you, and Donald Trump's in the way. This opens the curtain wide and shows what's really going on behind the scenes of the Democratic mind and heart. And then we get other people like AOC pushing for a apparent blacklist of people who worked with Trump. We saw that. I talked about this a little bit yesterday with Jennifer Rubin. Is anyone archiving these Trump psychopaths or sycophants when they try to downplay or deny their complicity in the future? I foresee decent probability of many deleted tweets, writings, photos in the future. Now look what these psychopaths are doing. They tried to steal an election, and now they're already drawing up purge and enemies lists. Imagine how they'll govern and censor. Masked Obama staffer Michael Simon deleted this tweet, but here's a screenshot. Remember what they did. TrumpAccountability.net. The Trump Accountability Project will be a permanent record of every staffer, appointee, donor, endorser, and enabler. Anyone who ever supported Donald Trump is now on this list so that they can drag your names through the mud, keep you from getting jobs, keep you from running or try to keep you from running for public office, all because you supported or voiced at one point support for Donald Trump. I've voiced support for Donald Trump. I've also voiced disdain for Donald Trump. Where does that put me? Because I've said I like Donald Trump's economic policy. I don't like what he tweets. Does that mean I'm going to be put on this blacklist? Probably. This is what fascism looks like, America. Fascism doesn't look like a man, the president, saying, I'm going to take away your press pass, like Donald Trump did. Fascism looks like the president arresting members of the press, like Barack Obama did, and using the IRS to go after your political opponents, like Barack Obama did. I'm sorry, America. The Republican Party is not the party of fascism. The Democratic Party is. The Democratic Party is the one burning down American cities because of, quote, racial injustice. The Democratic Party keeps using this word fascism to describe the right, when in reality, it's the left. The left is displaying really fascistic tendencies here. And stop saying that fascism is a right-wing stance, because it's not. It is an authoritarian stance representative of both the left and the right when either one gets too much power. So stop it. But they can't help themselves. CNN, this piece by Daily Wire, CNN airs list of GOP senators who haven't congratulated Joe Biden as election legal battles continue. The list making at CNN has begun. 49 GOP senators that haven't congratulated Joe Biden. What does this mean? What, are we supposed to vote them out of office now just because they didn't vote for Joe Biden? Or I'm sorry, they didn't congratulate Joe Biden yet? He's not the president-elect yet. He hasn't won. It looks like he's going to win, but he hasn't yet. Let me show you why. Here is the Electoral College path. So we've gone through all the requirements, right? The presidential candidate must be a natural-born citizen of the U.S., at least 35 years old, and a U.S. resident for at least 14 years, permanently lives in the United States. Okay. Step 1, primaries and caucuses. We finished this step. People with similar ideas usually belong to the same political party. The two main parties in the U.S. are Republican and Democrat. Many people want to be president. They campaign around the country and compete to try to win the party's nomination. In caucuses, party members meet, discuss, and vote for who they think will win. Would be the best party candidate. In primaries, party members vote in state election for the candidate they want to represent them in the general election. Okay, so we've done all the primaries. Donald Trump won the Republican primary. Joe Biden won the Democratic primary. Step 2, National Convention and General Election. This is what we just finished. After the primaries and caucuses, each major party, Democrat and Republican, holds a national convention to select a presidential nominee. Okay, we did that. The party's presidential nominee announces his or her choice for vice president. Okay, we did that. The presidential candidate campaigns throughout the country to win the support of the general population. We've done that. And on election day, people in every state cast their vote. And we've done that. But what we haven't done yet is the Electoral College. When people cast their vote, they are actually voting for a group of people called electors. The number of the electors each state gets is equal to a total number of senators and representatives of Congress. A total of 538 electors from Electoral College. Each elector casts one vote following the general election. The candidate who gets 270 votes or more wins. We have not done this yet, and therefore Joe Biden has not won yet. Okay, this whole Joe Biden has won the presidency, Donald Trump needs to concede. No. This is a made-up formality that has no basis in legal law or constitutional law or theory even. Okay, Donald Trump doesn't have to concede yet because he hasn't lost yet. And it's entirely possible that these legal battles that he goes through and that he's going through, and there's about a dozen of them, I'll show you in a second. There's a complete possibility that all of these legal battles that he's going through flips the election or puts it on hold, and we see states like Pennsylvania and Georgia and Nevada and Arizona can't declare a winner of each state, and therefore their electors can't go vote. So then what happens? The vote goes, the Supreme Court says the vote goes from the Electoral College to the state representatives in the Senate. There are 50, one for each state. And right now, the Republicans are winning 26-24. So let's take a looky here. Here are all the lawsuits the Trump campaign has filed since Election Day, and why most are unlikely to go anywhere. This Time article. Joe Biden won the presidential election on November 7th after the Associated Press called him the winner of Pennsylvania, pushing the former whatever. No, he hasn't won yet. Stop saying he won. He hasn't. Okay, so here let's go through these. There's 7 or 9, I think, in Pennsylvania to compel Philadelphia officials to stop counting ballots. A judge dismissed that one. To compel state election officials to allow Trump campaign officials to closer observation of the counting process. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there's 7 in Pennsylvania. There's 2 in Nevada. There's 3 in Michigan, 1 in Georgia, and there's a couple in Arizona going on. So about a dozen lawsuits filed by the Trump campaign and more to come. What does this mean? This means Donald Trump still has a path to victory, namely through the 14th Amendment. So let's look at this. What happened? Many counties in Michigan and Arizona and Pennsylvania were not treating votes the same. And so what happened? 14th Amendment in Florida in 2000, Bush v. Gore. They threw out all of the ballots that were not treated the same to the standard. So what this means is we could potentially see every single mail-in ballot. It's not likely, mind you. There's just a possibility. Every single mail-in ballot in many of these states be thrown out because they weren't treated to the standard, which it would be enough to flip these states. Most states, in fact, from Democrat to Republican. So Donald Trump still has several roads to victory here. I already said the Supreme Court could push it to the state delegates. The Supreme Court might throw out mail-in votes. All mail-in votes. There's a good chance a large chunk of mail-in votes that were never processed correctly get thrown out. So Donald Trump still has a few paths to victory. Don't count him out yet. This election's not over until the state delegates vote. I'm sorry, the Electoral College, not the state delegates. The election's not over until the Electoral College votes on who they're going to elect the president. So stop calling Joe Biden president-elect because he's not. Did you not pay attention in 8th grade civics class? All right. Well, tomorrow is Saturday, so no show tomorrow. I will be back on Monday. Try not to burn down the country over the weekend. Like I said at the beginning of the video, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. Share this video with your friends. Help me combat the false news, the fake news narratives floating around the social media sphere. See you next week.